funny, like a week before the assassination, he called her and her videos demonic. And suddenly she claimed, oh, I was a good friend with him.
If you look at Mark Twain, when he came to Israel, you see his account, he said most of the land was barren.
ולא, והלכה, we should respect the law of the host nation.
Right.
I mean,
Dina de Malchut
yeah, Dina de Malchut. I mean, if we don't believe that Israel isn't Jewish, we believe that the Zionists are not Jewish and that the complete goyim, according to the law, we should respect Israel because Israel is Dina de Malchut Dina.
Welcome everybody to the first ever episode of Jews on Social. Welcome to the podcast. This episode with Adin was filmed almost 7 weeks ago. At the time I had planned to put it out at the latest, a week later, but just moving to a new country and all the stuff that comes along with that, obviously, and the Chagim. So that pushed it off. A lot has changed since then. We spoke about a lot of things during the war, thank God. All the living hostages are back. Many things have changed, but almost everything that we discussed I still think has relevance, and I think overall it's a very interesting conversation. So please listen, drop a like, leave your thoughts in the comments, leave a review, and enjoy. Welcome everybody to the first ever Jews on Social episode. We have the honor of having with us Adin.
Yeah.
Adin, who is very, very much online, very vocal about Eretz and defending Israel against all the lies and all the things people say. Maybe I'm speaking for you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Adin.
Some will say I'm not exactly an Israel defender, more like Palestinian attacker.
Okay.
Yeah, you can say that. Like, I'm just, each time, like, I wasn't originally planning to have a page dedicated to defending Israel. Like, I think there are already other people who do it much more professionally than I am. I'm just, each time I saw something that BS, I just call it out as it is.
Yeah, I also think that, I think both of us would agree, Israel doesn't really need defense, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't need, we shouldn't have to defend ourselves when there's a war,
I don't like, the position of hasbara, of people throw accusation at you and then you need to refute back.
Exactly.
I'm more like I like to be on the attack every time. Like, this is why I mainly focus on attacking the Palestinian narrative more than defending the Zionist one.
Offense versus defense.
Yeah, I'm more like first of all, let's make them try to defend their position.
Right. That's as far as strategy goes. And I'm saying really, what's shocking is how people even make the comparison. That's the shocking thing. Was this something that you were doing before October 7th?
Before October 7, I would say my page was more originally long before October 7. I would say October 7 changed, maybe more radical or something. But long before October 7, my page was originally just a place I like reading about, 1948 wars, or early Zionism and all that. And each time I found something interesting, I just post it online just so I will be easier time to find it when I want to go back to.
So it was a personal project.
It wasn't a project. It was just a place just so I could easily just to organize for myself. And just slowly people find it more and more interesting. So yeah.
Right. I have a feeling that that's what catches on the most, because when people talk about what they're passionate about, that's people feel that, right? And so I think that goes traction. But and right now you're studying. You're a student studying. What are you studying?
Political science and Middle East.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So what I want to ask you is, right now we're in a crazy time right now. I think it hasn't even been a week since Charlie Kirk was shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm what I was more shocked. I mean, first of all, just seeing the video without any warning was probably the most. It was such a. I
Yeah,
thought it was AI in the beginning. Like I didn't think it was real.
it just appeared to me on Telegram out of nowhere. Yeah,
Yeah, horrible. Um, but what's more concerning is the reaction to it.
yeah. I mean, I personally didn't follow Charlie Kirk so much. Like, I know about the guy since 2016. I heard about him. I
Right.
saw some clips, the most famous clips of him sometimes showed up to me. Like, I wasn't more focused of who he was. I just know who is. I know I'm more familiar with the people who hated him. Like the people who constantly attack him and all of that. And I saw how the same people who called him a Zionist shill, a Netanyahu slave, up until the very last moment suddenly do complete 180-degree change. Suddenly say, oh, Israel did it because he was about to change his mind about Israel. Like, so
So
yeah, I saw live how they completely do a change from one point for completely 180-degree change.
yeah, it's interesting you say that because basically every single time there's something that they don't like or they realize that they can get, popular opinion against, they'll just put it on Israel.
Yeah.
And the people who like were so-called friends of Charlie, like Candace Owens, right
Yeah.
away she starts saying
I mean, it's
things.
funny, like week before the assassination, he called her and her views demonic.
Yeah.
So, in suddenly she claimed, oh, I was a good friend with him up until it was like,
Well, I think she probably
maybe
does
she,
respect him. She probably, because they're
I
they're
mean,
fellow Christians. But I'm saying that he did not at all take her views
yeah, I mean,
kindly.
like I guess he agreed as part of his free speech absolutism. He allowed her to have her own voice in his program as part, but it was the same thing that Ben Shapiro did back then. Like
Oh yeah, I mean also
Ben Shapiro still allowed the Candace Owens to have a voice. Like people say, oh, you wanted to silence her. No, he challenged her to debate, but she refused to show up several times. So we do the same thing with Charlie Kirk. We do, oh, because he still have the relation with me, so Israel to try to silence him because we like we do all the
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you could see that you mentioned Ben Shapiro. I don't know if I was going to mention him, but just looking at the huge contrast between Ben Shapiro, who's a Jew, right?
yeah
Who and by the way, all of us, right? We don't agree with a lot of things that Charlie Kirk agrees with. We don't believe in the same things that Charlie Kirk did, but all of us can. I mean, I for sure could agree.
right
And Ben as well. He was fighting for the soul of America.
yeah
Like, there's no question, right? So, and what's crazy is that someone like Candace would take would use his death,
hmm
use his murder as another way to attack Jews. Like that's not a friend.
like yeah. I mean, I saw how the program they did Ben Shapiro and DJ Vance on the
Yeah, JD Vance. Yeah.
GD Vance, yeah, on his show, like the show, the Charlie Kirk show, and all of them, all of the people that showed up only talked about Charlie Kirk and his legacy and what he stands for, except Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson straight away pushes his agenda of, oh, it's Israel, it's all that, Israel may be brilliant. That.
I didn't even hear that yet. Was it Tucker? I didn't even see
Tucker
that.
Carlson
Tucker
showed
Carlson also blamed his shooting on Israel.
he tried to imply it, like, of course, I'm not saying necessarily that Israel did it, but it's we need to ask this question, all of it,
Oh my gosh. Oh my
basically.
gosh. It's funny how they're the people who are like don't stop asking questions, and then they'll make accusations
Yeah,
with no proof at all. I was thinking, she Candace. First of all, I have to see what Tucker said. I didn't know that. Um, but what she said, she attacked Bill Ackman.
yeah,
You see that? And then she's like, "Oh, you haven't refuted it yet." It's like how, like people like used to look at her as someone who operates on logic and good arguments. I don't know anyone in the right mind who would say you have to prove my claim
mhm,
wrong, or
yeah.
else like when you came with no proof, you just made an accusation. You have to prove your accusation correct, not me have to prove your accusation wrong.
Yeah, this is court 101, court defense 101.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like she just throw accusation everywhere, and then people just push back, and automatically play the victim, the defense. Oh, I was just asking questions and all that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
And
Like now she try. Oh, I didn't claim that Israel killed them. I claim that the Israeli lobby pressured him to support Israel, and maybe it's coming to conflict. She tried to play this gymnastics.
oh my God.
Like, yeah,
Oh my God. You know, what's funny is like I watch a lot of these people, not necessarily the people we just mentioned, but like someone like Piers Morgan, right?
yeah,
His disease is it's just all about how he can look good.
yeah.
Right? You look at him like all the time, like
You always
yeah,
want to look like the moderator, the big responsible adult, and
yeah,
all that.
and he doesn't end up being on anyone like anywhere. He's in no man's land.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw he spoke to Bassem Youssef the other day.
Yeah, and I saw Bassam Youssef admit I know Israel didn't kill him. I just said it to create a diversion. Basically, this is what he basically said.
He said I'm a clown.
Yeah.
I'm a comedian. That's by the way, that's one of the biggest gaslighting I've ever seen. But
Yeah.
before I even go there, like he was just I think like almost half the show was just Piers Morgan saying, no, but I was tough on them. No, but I did ask questions, like him just defending himself.
Yeah.
Because I think Bassem Youssef kind of knows this because he's a horrible person, but he's not stupid.
Yeah.
Right? He thinks other people are stupid to be able to say, oh, I'm just a comedian, like as if he wasn't speaking in earnest this entire time,
Mm-hmm.
the moment that someone, calls him out. But he understands that Pierce is he kept on attacking Pierce, so Pierce was like, oh, no,
Yeah.
but I am. Like Pierce, that's his main disease. It's all
Yeah.
about his,
He only cares
how
about
he
his
looks.
own image.
Literally,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying people like him, like they'll speak sense a lot of the time, and the moment it comes to Israel,
Mhm.
all sense goes out the window. And Pierce still, because he tries to look like he's in the middle, is always, playing both
Anyhow,
sides.
a guy like Bassem Youssef tried to claim live that Israel is a safe haven for pedophiles and sex offenders when he escaped Egypt. When Egypt was known back when he was escaped of basically raping a reporter live television. So
Oh, I didn't know about that. What was that? What happened?
it was during the Arab Spring. Like this is he was originally in Egypt.
Yeah, he's an Egyptian.
Yeah,
He will even admit that living in Israel is better than Egypt, but still, Israel is the
yeah. And basically, and he escaped Egypt during this time. And during that time, Egypt was infamous for basically of a mass sexual assault. Then, like, there's an entire UN report about it, the mass sexual assault during the Arab Spring.
Yeah, also, it's very disingenuous to say that Israel is like somehow by design a safe haven for pedophiles. What I understand is happening is that because people have that there's an idea of a right of return,
Yeah.
there's aliyah, so people who have issues will also use that for not good purposes.
Like, yeah, I read the actual try to look down to the bear basically to see what the actual data, and basically some report that said that for over a decade period, possibly 30 people who suspect basically maybe moved to Israel. Some of them moved to other countries actually since then. So and many of them are already extracted back to the US. So we're talking about maybe few dozen cases at a 1 decade period, like when hundreds of thousands of people move in and
So
out.
there was extradition.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's lie number one.
Yeah.
Lie number two, as if there's like some by design, like
Yeah.
safe haven. It's so crazy how it's the same as the experts, the genocide experts,
Yeah.
where you saw that thing, right? Where you could just sign up.
Yeah.
People were like signing up their dog, I think. They signed up their dog to be a genocide expert. It's the same thing. They'll just say something, they'll take it totally out of context or blow it up and expect that no one's gonna call out their garbage.
Like, yeah, I found far more reports about pedophiles who find safe haven in Ireland than in Israel.
Right.
Like, I found like hundreds of thousands of cases of basically the British government accuses Ireland of basically being safe haven for their pedophiles, basically.
Right, but obviously it's only when Israel does something, is there accountability.
Then it's suddenly something by design since the times of Herzl, it was meant to be that way. Like, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's something else. It's something else. What are your thoughts about the like Muslims all over the world and how England, France, all these different places?
I mean, it's I always found it funny. Like, I saw many of Muslim advocates online who basically saw, oh, you need to accept change. You need England is for everyone, all of that, and then at the same time complain about West Bank settlers or of how they're harming the Palestinian culture there. Like,
right. Well, here's the question I have. why is it that if a Jew lives in the West Bank, he's a settler, but if an Arab, like that's illegal, but if an Arab does, it's not illegal?
Oh,
That sounds.
because they signed some documents maybe on the immigration or if they did it legally, assuming. So it's automatically, oh, I did it peacefully or something. I did.
That's an interesting.
But basically, it's basically just legal issues, just legal documents issues suddenly change the entire moral argument. I mean, it's funny, like, because the Palestinian narrative, one of the big talking points is that, oh, we welcome Jews back in the Holocaust, we welcome escaped Jews, and look how they turned against us.
First of all, it's a blatant lie.
I mean, yeah, but if we take their narrative, we come as hypocrites against when people criticize when we complain about how people treat them in their host countries.
Yeah, so you're making a good point. I think I don't know if you realize they're on the global stage, they'll never really argue religion.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason for that because they want to make Palestine, quote unquote, they want to make that a totally not religious. Because again, right, they're coming with their motivation is religious, right? It's Dar el Harb, right? It's the House of War.
Like if you read the Hamas charter, the main argument why this land belongs to them is because it's a Waqf land, basically a land that only Muslims are legally allowed to own.
Right, because it was already owned by Muslims, right? So, but they're not going to do that on the world stage. Why? Because the world stage won't respond to that.
Yeah.
So what they'll do is they'll pretend it's some kind of social justice issue.
Yeah.
Oh, indigeneity and this and this and this, even though everybody knows that Jewish people come from Israel. That's why people work so hard to pretend that Ashkenazi Jews aren't from the Levant.
And they try to push the straw man talking point. They say, oh, Israelis claim this land is there because God promised them 3,000 years ago. Basically make that straw man argument.
Well, first of all, I mean, the fact that online, that's like the number one anti-Semitic troll, right?
Yeah.
Like under nothing to do with Israel.
Oh yeah, basically
the door was promised to him 3,000 years ago.
Yeah, basically, Jew buying something on TikTok, they say, oh, this was promised to him 3,000 years ago. Like,
but why is that their number one thing?
Because they think they like to create the supposed hypocrisy of the Jews on one hand are some kind of satanic atheist people or godless people.
Right.
But on the other hand, they also claim that God promised them 3,000 years ago to sound like the religious crazy people at the same time.
Well, that's, okay, I think we're going to unpack a few things. Number one, this is the only land where even according to all three religions, the only time a land was promised to anybody was the land of Israel to the Jewish people. This is a fact.
Yeah, but you need to remember, like, Herzl, Ben-Gurion, Jabotinsky, none of them mentioned that argument. Yeah, I read the writing, none of them ever used the argument, oh, because God promised us 3,000 years ago this land is ours. Like, none of the mainstream Zionist founders ever even thought about it as an argument.
Do you think that maybe if they had more pride and more of a Torah approach, that maybe it would have been better for the country?
Like, I think argument like for religious argument can work for Jews toward other Jews, like to basically to strengthen the faith, the morale, or boost the morale basically of the Jewish people. But as a legal argument to present to courts or to history books, they point out the historical accounts, continuity, and basically a continuous claim of this land. Basically,
well, that exists. The way that I mean, those things exist. The fact that the Jews never left the land entirely, even though, by the way, for hundreds of years, the powers there were hundreds of years, centuries, where Jews weren't allowed to live in Jerusalem. Why do you wait?
And there was the time up until the mid-19th century when Ashkenazi Jews were not allowed to live around Jerusalem because of some tax on the Horva synagogue 100 years ago. So they were collectively banned from Jerusalem.
Oh, okay.
And what's ironic, like there was a rabbi, Abraham Tzoref, who used legal argument to cancel that ban, and for that he was murdered several years later.
Okay.
It was back in the 1850s, so it was before modern political Zionism.
Well, that's another thing that people don't. I think we might disagree on what the right argument is, even in a place like the UN, right? Meaning, let's put it this way, if all the Jewish people were united and we said, this is our land because It's our ancestral homeland. We are the descendants of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. I think that look, America is still a very Christian country, right?
Yeah,
People
but
believe in the Bible.
yeah, but
Even in the Quran itself, it says these things.
yeah, you can go if you come to a religious person, you can debate him about religious matters.
Most of our enemies in the Middle East are religious.
Yeah, but we are not talking about debating, debating the sheikh, Hamas sheikh or something.
So that's my point. My point is that that's why they don't talk religion, because they know they have no case there. So they try to isolate Palestine away from the rest of the Muslim world.
Yeah.
Right, but really it's a Muslim issue.
It's funny, but at the same time, they accuse the Muslim world for betrayal because they are not intervening in Gaza, because they're killing the Muslim Brotherhood. And all that.
So in Arabic they say that, and in English they say something else. This is the crazy part is that people don't realize this. And what's it's even more crazy is, and this is people speak about this all the time. They'll have people who are basically almost communist, and they're hand in hand with the jihadists, right? Even though there's nothing that really they agree on.
It's funny, so I saw so many communists, self-described Marxists support Hezbollah when Hezbollah basically exterminated the Communist Party of Lebanon, basically kill all its leaders.
Do you think it's a case of the enemy of my enemy is my friend?
It could be. And it could be because, they have a worldview of oppressor and oppressor and all of that, intertwined struggles. That basically they see Israel as representative of imperialist, communist, capitalist power. And also they claim, because of Israel they hate us. This is one argument.
Right. Right. They're supposed to kill the kuffar because of Israel, right?
Yeah.
I want to go back to this thing about, you mentioned Hasbara is we're kind of on defense, right?
Yeah.
And I think I'm a Lubavitcher, right? I'm Chabad.
Yeah.
And the Rebbe's stance on this, and I believe it's the correct stance, was very much that people will always try to find reasons to delegitimize your arguments, right? So you'll say indigeneity, the even though it's ridiculous, right? The Palestinians are the ancient Canaanites. Right?
They made the classic argument, the Canaanites basically became Jews, and then the Jews...
By the way, where is that historically? Where are they taking that from?
The official archaeological, because I also studied archaeology back then, the official archaeology position is because they can't prove if Exodus happened or didn't happen. They claim, the Jews evolved from the Canaanites, right? This is basically, to my opinion, it's actually strength in some sense the Zionist argument, because it's proof also the Canaanites are also part of our culture. You need to remember that Canaanites in the Bible and the Canaanites in archaeology are two different things. People conflate with each other.
Okay, so you're saying that the Canaanites who were the idol worshippers who were there in the time, or the descendants of Ham?
Yeah, according to the Bible, the Canaanites are invaders of Ham. Basically, they are themselves foreigners, and
because it was supposed to be the land of Shem,
of Melchizedek, and all that. And according to archaeology, Canaanites, it's not even a name of a people. It's just a broad classifications of different cultures who existed in the Levant before the Israelites.
Okay, fine.
So
basically, because they don't have, let's say, the record of the wars that happened and the Jewish people winning the wars and taking the land.
It's a huge debate to how to, all the Bronze Age archaeology, it's a huge mystery land, basically.
So it's Bible denial, right? If people who go with that narrative are at best they're doubting the Torah.
Yeah, you can't use, if you're going to come with religious argument to religious historical argument to secular person, you first need to prove to him that God exists and the Torah is truth and all that.
Don't we have some archaeological evidence of Jewish people, of a Jewish kingdom here?
Yeah, but using archaeology argument, it's already diversion from the religious argument by itself.
Right, but if they don't have a story, this is what I don't understand, right? Science, the way science works and this stuff works, is that if you don't have proof, so then it's not conclusive, right?
Yeah, but
in the absence of any story, why would you reject this story?
But you need to remember in context. I mean, if you're using the archaeological argument to prove a story of the Bible of true,
Not to prove it. You don't have to prove it, right? You don't have to prove it, but you don't have a better account. Here you have a written account of what happened up until a certain point where you can fill in the gaps.
I mean, first of all, according to all archaeologists, the archaeological and historical consensus that all the stories from Book of Kings onwards are historical accounts.
Because they can prove it.
Yeah, there is a history. The Assyrians and Babylonians and Egyptian manuscripts to confirm basically
Right.
almost all important detail on this time period. So the debate is beforehand, like the debate if there was a big united kingdom under King David and Solomon, or if there was the judges, with all Deborah and Simpson and all that.
Right.
And then go to the Exodus or the Joshua conquest and the patriarchs. Those are, the big debates happen there, basically. But everything onward, it's already basically settled.
But that's what I mean. I think people don't understand when it comes. Again, no one has to believe. Like, if I can't prove it, no one. I can't like say you must believe me, right? I can't do that. But what I'm saying is that science has a certain ceiling. Meaning, if you can prove it, then I could talk to you. If there's something it could have existed, I just can't prove it.
I'm just saying that
But
the Bible on its own is just one testimony out of many testimonies.
Really, there are other testimonies that are as robust as the Bible's testimony in the time before.
I mean, not all testimonies are equal. Some testimonies are more important than others. I'm just saying that the Bible, as if we're talking about Israel history, is ancient Israel history, the Bible is one big important one testimony out of many others. There are many Assyrian accounts, Babylonian accounts.
But that's after a certain point.
Yeah, but
I'm talking about beforehand. Where is there another? I mean, again, we granted we both believe in the Torah, but I'm saying for people who don't.
Are you talking about the origin of Israel or the fact that Israel was already there? Because both are, I think, completely different issues. I think if we're talking about legitimate indigenous claim, I think we already have a case of archaeological case.
Correct, but people can argue and say, but really it belongs to the people before. Never mind that there isn't a people from before.
I mean, the people before, what exactly people before? Canaanites in archaeological historical terms are not a name of a people, they are a name of basically all different cultures. I mean, up in Lebanon and Syria and all the way to Jordan, all of them were called Canaanites.
Right.
It's not a name of specific group.
Okay, so, what I'm saying is that well, I want to go back to this, right? What I'm saying is that the Rebbe said very clearly that when a Jew stands up and says that this belongs to us because it's our inheritance from Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they can disagree or not agree, but there's not really much of an argument back and forth, right? And I think that's why people get so, on social media, the Jew haters, that's why they comment these things, because it's like there's nothing they can do they say about this. There's like you can't really counter it. It's either you believe in it or you don't believe in it. But when a person, when our identity is I believe that the identity of the Jewish people as the sons of Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov is actually the strongest identity we can have.
I mean, you're talking about identity, and I'm more talking about basically how to prove it scientifically in historiography.
So that exists, right? Meaning we both agree that there's no stronger case as far as who has been here the longest, who is here first, who has a history in the land, who still maintain their identity, right? That's indigeneity, right? When we talk about indigeneity, that's there. I just think that people will argue and say, oh, the Palestinians come from there, and the Palestinians are Jews who converted, right?
Basically converted to Christianity, and then later converted to Islam, and then basically they are the same people who live there, same Neanderthals, basically.
Right, so my answer to that would be, so basically conveniently, and this is where it goes back to Islam, it's like, conveniently, you picked that the only Jews who have any legitimate claim to the land are the ones who you Arabized and Muslimized and basically made agree exactly with what you think.
Yeah.
Like that's just a dumb argument.
And this is why one of the points I am attacking the Palestinian narrative. Like I try to ask, okay, give me historical evidence for the so-called mass conversion.
Right.
Because we have evidence for 2,200 years ago of the conversion of the Edomites to Judaism under the Assyrians. We have many historical records, both from the Assyrians themselves, Josephus Flavius, and Romans accounts, and Greek accounts, many accounts for that conversion. It is documented in multiple accounts.
Did they turn? I don't know that. Did they turn into the Christians, or is that something else?
No, the Edomites.
The Edom, yeah, the Edom. When did that happen? The Edomites.
Under the Asmonean, under King Johanna, Yohanan Hyrcanus.
Oh, the Hashmonaim.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, it was conversion. Some say it was symbolic or not. It's debatable. Some say it was part of a long progress that already led before, because the Edomites were already very similar culturally to the Jewish people long before that. But the point is, we have historical documents for it to happen. However, we have basically zero historical evidence of Jews or Christians or any other groups in the area mass converting to Islam.
Yeah, and also I want to add to that, it's coming from a different angle, but if you listen to Mark, like they say they were there for thousands of years, if you look at Mark Twain, and when he came to Israel, you see his account, he said most of the land was barren. So you're talking about, if you want to talk about, certain areas in Israel where it's like, this is your land. I mean, again, even though that claim is ridiculous.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you look, even if people say, oh, Mark Twain was just a tourist to basically try to exaggerate it, everything.
Oh, so okay.
Even if you ignore Mark Twain and look scientifically, I mean, there was British official researchers in the area, basically, they confirmed there were about 400,000 people in the general area. It was not a historical Palestine.
They were entire patches of land.
Basically, 90% of them live in three areas. Basically, Western Galilee, Iran, Jenin, Nablus, and Gaza.
So Shechem, Gaza, Aza, as we know it, right?
And around Nazareth.
And around Tzfat, right? The Galilee?
Mainly Nazareth.
Okay.
And basically they were all concentrated in those places, and all the other areas were empty, both because they were impossible to cultivate and also because we were under constant attack by nomadic Bedouins and armies.
Right. And just to be clear, this is not saying, therefore, therefore you're less. You're like, it's an argument to say that they shouldn't have any whatever. Like again.
My problem is like people claim, because some Arabs lived back then in Jenin, therefore they have a claim to the land of Tel Aviv.
That's what I'm saying. It's like even if, let's say, we're going to grant you every single ridiculous claim that you made until now, the fact that, like, the idea that this place was fully populated is such a lie. It's a joke.
Today there are like over 15 million people between the river and the sea, and still most of the land is unpopulated.
Listen, I came here from Beersheba. You drive down.
Yeah.
There's huge swaths of land with nothing there.
Yeah, back then there were only like 400,000 people.
And today, what? There's like 13 million. How many people live here?
Like 15 million today.
Yeah. It's just such an insane claim.
Like, they claim, the Zionists made up the lie, it was a land without people. First of all, the slogan was not invented by any Zionist, it was invented by Christian tourists decades before more political Zionism.
Oh, okay.
And it was never used by any Zionists, maybe except twice, and all of it was in context of nationhood, not in context of physically there is no people. And also, like, even if you want to take it as a Zionist propaganda, they mainly were focused on land that really had no people. On the valleys, on the plains, and all that. They didn't go to Jenin and look at all the Arabs who live in the village of Jenin, which almost no Jew go near there. So,
right. It's one of the things that really hurts the soul to see is that the kever of Yosef is
Nablus,
not in our hands. Yeah, it's irresponsible, I think, from our point. Like,
it's problem that Joseph decided to die there.
What?
Problem for Joseph who decided to be buried there.
No. I don't know how much he decided. Isn't that the chelek of Yosef?
According to tradition, it's there.
Yeah, but I'm saying is that Israel. Listen, you could say that I'm of the position. I'll tell you like this. Number one, there was something I wanted to say. We'll go to this in a second. Remind me about what happened at one of these galas, or I don't know, one of these award ceremonies. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But I think that there are there are people who hate Jews, right? And they're the people who like us who know what our claim is and this is our land. And then there are I think like the special type of idiot is what I call them, is the people who actually believe that Gaza and Gaza and Yehuda v'Shamron, right, what people call the West Bank, that's what's holding back peace. That if that was resolved, then really everything would be okay. And I think it's one of the stupidest, dumbest positions people could have ever. I don't know what your position on it is, even if I said that.
My position is that if we ever going to retreat or whatever you call it from areas, I think it should be out of our security, national interest, not
Correct.
because we think, oh, it will bring utopia or something.
Right, you can't be like, oh, right, we're gonna make peace and put ourselves in the most precarious, the most hazardous position ever. Just going back to 1967 borders, there are areas in Israel where there's about 10 kilometers, or I think either 10 kilometers or 10 miles between one border to the other, to the sea, which is like that's, you think that they're thinking that, oh, you give us that and we're going to stay where we are? You don't think they're going to use that as an advantage to destroy Israel? Do you think our enemies all of a sudden change their mind after 70 years of literally saying, we're going to kill you guys, we're going to take it back? I mean, it's idiotic.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, like people say, oh, Hamas agreed for a two-state solution because they read once that Hamas in 2017 said he's willing to sign a truce if Israel retreat completely from the territories and establish a Palestinian state. Then we'll sign a 10 years truce. Basically, for 10 years, we'll not attack you.
Right.
After that, we'll figure out. Basically,
it's like when people say, "Oh, Hamas changed their charter."
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like I read in Arabic how they call it. Like they never once called the 2017 one a charter. They call it a political document because it's not supposed to replace the original charter, the 88 one.
It's supposed to be what looks good politically.
It was mainly made to impress Egypt because back then Egypt accused Hamas of aiding ISIS in Sinai, so Hamas tried to show moderate position basically.
Yeah. It's that it's just crazy that anyone would believe that all of a sudden this ideology decided to become, like, oh no, we're not gonna we took out that part about killing the Jews, but we're still shooting rockets into civilian areas and we don't want to kill them anymore. Like how dumb do you have to be?
I mean, the reason why the 88 one called it charter and the 2017 called political document
right,
is because the 88 one is supposed to be a divine document. Basically, it was religious, the divine holy document. It can't be possibly changed because changing it is like changing the Quran.
Oh, so there you go. There's another angle where it's actually very much intertwined with Islam. I mean, we all know this, but
I mean, it's kind of like the difference between Hamas charter and the PLO charter, for example, is the PLO charter can be changed for voting among the party. The Hamas charter has no possibility.
Okay, this is something which I sound ignorant. The PA and the PLO.
I mean, the PA, it's the territory, the authority.
Right.
It's the name of the authority that
the government structure.
The government structure of area A and B.
Right.
The PLO is a political party that basically
they're the ones in the UN and whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they mainly.
But they're basically the same thing.
I mean, de facto they are the government, but the PA. Also, there's areas that are actually controlled by the Islamic Jihad or by Hamas clans in some areas.
In Yehuda v'Shamron?
In Jenin mainly.
Oh, okay. Right. They're still there. They're just not the government, right? That's what people don't understand.
They're still, officially, it's still under the PA control. I mean, the PLO is in the PA government, is basically Abu Abbas is a member of the PLO.
So right. Okay. So it's funny you mentioned the PA because I was going to actually say also, recently I think I saw somewhere, I don't even know if it's accurate, that they took away their pay for slay, right? They
allegedly.
Allegedly, but I'm saying is, I think that's actually a good outcome. What I mean by a good outcome is not that they actually changed what they say.
The fact that they feel the need to impress us,
exactly means when we apply pressure.
Yeah.
You see that they have to react. And I think our biggest mistake, and by the way, this has to do with the war, and the Khatufim and everything. I don't know what your opinion is. I actually have opinions I think it would make a lot of people upset. But But I mean, a lot of people, meaning people who are just thinking about the hostages, they're not thinking about the fact that 1,000 soldiers have died already. And if you ask,
900, but it's from all fronts, not only Gaza. It's also include October 7. In Gaza specifically, around 400. If you exclude accidents, it's more 300.
okay, so let's say 300, right? And how many Khatufim are there?
Now 20 alive.
20 alive, right? I'm saying how many were there originally?
250.
Right. So it sounds insensitive, but there's no way that I could say that one life. I mean, like for example, right, the Bibas kids, right?
Yeah.
There was more heartbreaking than anybody else. You could say, right? It was gut wrenching.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, first of all, the weight, we didn't know what was going on. It was the most horrible thing. But to put actually a value on one soul over another, it's impossible.
And people say, the purpose of the IDF is to sacrifice itself for the greater cause. This is the purpose of an army, no?
Well, not really if you're conscripting the entire country. And in general, the point of an army is to make the best choice for the country. Now, I'm not saying chas v'shalom, not God forbid for me to be saying at the Chatufim, just you leave them there. What I'm saying is, if you're going to employ a strategy that's going to kill more people, you're teaching the other side that this is working. You're teaching the terrorists that this is a good thing, right? Gilad Shalit, what happened to Gilad Shalit?
Mm-hmm.
Gilad Shalit, you could say, was one of the factors that actually led up to October 7th, because Yahya was one of the people who were released.
Yeah.
And we're making the same mistake here. But I didn't actually want to go there yet. I was saying, more about the fact that people, Israel gets pressured by the fact that there's, we're not letting in food and aid, and again, all the lies they say about shooting this and that, and I think, by the way, Haaretz is like the Al Jazeera of Israel. I can't believe, like, literally every single Jew hater is subscribed to Haaretz. They call it Haaretz.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I just want to.
It's funny, like the accusation of famine. Like there was a time between March and May when Israel officially did blockade aid. But what is funny, like during those 3 months, we actually get the least complaint about famine on Gaza. And actually, after, when there is a huge with the GHF, there is hundreds of trucks, hundreds of airdrops. Now we get all this famine accusation
Right, after the fact.
After Israel already canceled its policy.
Right, that goes to show you that they don't want the GHF to succeed.
Yeah. Like it's more specific response of GHF more than direct Israeli policy. I mean, when Israel actually had the policy to block aid, when suddenly we see relatively far less accusation when there is now so many sources of food in Gaza.
Right. No, well, we know the UN like literally just dumped a bunch of aid on the side, and like literally the stuff could have gone to Palestinians who they are supposed to care about, right? No, but I was going back and saying about the way this war was. If in general, Israel has a disease, and I'm sorry to say this, I just came to this country, but I think a lot of us have a disease of we want to impress and we want to get in the good graces of the outside, and that's, I think, our number one destroyer. Because if we would have laid siege in the beginning, no food goes in, if we would have went in hard, the war would have been over. Why are they applying pressure? Why are the people who are anti-Israel applying so much pressure? It's not because they care about the Palestinians. It's because they don't want us to win, right? Israel can go and have a war forever, but Israel's not allowed to win. This is like the common theme. This is a war that we didn't ask for, by the way. Yeah, people. I remember, what's his name? Bassem Youssef was, trying to basically take as many deaths as possible and blame it on Israel. Hannibal directive. Why did it take so much time? Sure, because any of that would have.
I challenge all the conspiracy theories to find me one evidence of Hannibal directive being used on civilians on October 7th.
Exactly. They're just saying, this thing exists, so therefore it must be that they applied it here.
Yeah, I mean, even the supposed testimonies of Seut possibly being activated on October 7th, it's mainly just been activated on soldiers who have possibly been kidnapped, not on civilians. Like Hannibal directive is only in cases of soldiers, not
right.
So it's not really proving anything regarding to the civilians' casualties.
Wow. Yeah, exactly.
I read all the allegations, people who just speculating that maybe some form of unable. We're talking about in military bases and all this. Like we're not talking about Nova or something.
Right. Well, that's the crazy thing is like, and this is the thing with Jew haters. Like, all you have to do is make an accusation, and people will just run with it because they don't need much. They just need a suggestion that Israel is guilty, and they'll run with it. And you see that like, there's nothing. And anyway, my point is that like I don't understand why we haven't yet learned that it doesn't help us to try to be on the good side of other people who hate us anyway.
I mean, first of all, Israel still feel they need to have some diplomacy, some foreign diplomacy, because every country have diplomacy.
Yeah, but look, we could talk about diplomacy. Look at the guy from Poland, right? Look at the prime minister of Poland.
You mean the guy who turned off Noah?
No, I know he's a
lunatic.
First of all, we're not going to talk about Poland and Jews don't really go so well together. But I'm talking about as far as him understanding the threat of allowing immigrants into the country, right?
Yeah, but
he didn't allow it. He's not allowing it. And he was just yesterday, just today, I saw a clip. I don't know when it was from. That he was saying that you guys are weak and you're allowing these things to happen in our country, and we're doing okay because we're not letting them in. But what I'm saying is he's still being diplomatic, but he's being strong. He's showing that he has strength, and he said, you can say whatever you want. We know what's good for our country. I don't have to go and tell the world, F you, to say, this is your opinion, but we're going to do what's best for our country. It's a no-brainer in my opinion. But again, I don't have the pressures of the prime minister, but I'm just saying, how long is it going to take for Israel to learn?
I mean, first of all, we don't know what's going on right now. Right now, the supposed operation in Gaza City is
very heavy,
very underway, basically. So we still don't know. Maybe the lesson have been learned. We don't know yet. We don't know. I mean, there are so many reports of allegations that say that Israel activated secret units in Gaza. But we still there is so many secrets of what's going on the ground that we don't know. I mean, and you need to remember, like back in October 7, the consideration wasn't only the international opinion. The concern was also the hostages.
The hostages, definitely. No, the hostages is the only bargaining chip that they really have.
Yeah, and they worried, like, if Israel did what you offered to do, I think there was people who considered in the government, but also worried, what will happen if in response there will be mass death of hostages? And it called complete demoralization of Israeli society.
There would be a demoralization. Well, the question is, do you think it would be a more demoralizing? I don't want to, look, we're talking about lives here, right?
Yeah.
And there are lives that have been lost, more lives of soldiers. So it's not a pleasant thing. It's not like there's an easy, emotionally, there's not an easy answer to this. Definitely not emotionally. But, it's hard to, okay, there were parents of most of the parents want their kids back, right? And obviously they want their kids back. But there were actually some parents who had the ability to say that I know what the cost is going to be if Israel goes into war trying to get the hostages. And they themselves, parents themselves, and I can't even imagine how hard it was for them to say this, but they said, I understand that perhaps my child will have to lose their life for the greater good of the Jewish nation. Mm-hmm. Which again is an insane thing to say and shows, I would say, one of the deepest types of love. I'm not a parent, right? I'm not a parent of these. I'm not in their position. But for a parent to be able to say that, that shows such a deep love for Israel and for the Jewish people, for someone to be able to say that. And I'm just saying, like, I think that again, I don't know emotionally, right? The demoralization is like a good point. Like, would we be more demoralized? Because the way we look at soldiers and the way we look at hostages is very different. So if the hostages were to, we know what happened to the Bibas kids, right? If they were all to be destroyed, especially if it was, because of Israeli, attacks, what would that do to us? I don't know. But the cost of lives is again, if we're just doing simple math and you remove all emotion, is higher right now.
Yeah, there is, you probably heard about Inav Zuckerberg, I think his name.
Say again?
Inav, the mother of the hostage.
What did she say?
Because she's very vocal about, ending the war to release the hostages.
Right.
So eventually her son basically became the Joker. So basically, in any supposed hostage deal that maybe will have, he will be the last one to be released. I mean, because, basically Hamas found their Joker.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You see, the more vocal,
The most
the
vocal.
more valuable this hostage becomes, the more they're going to hold on to them.
Yeah.
Understood. Well, that was the whole thing that happened with Gilad Shalit. And again, like, how can you say, God, our own brother comes home? How can you say, like, after it happened, you can't say he shouldn't have come. You can't say such a thing. Asul. But to say that it was a huge mistake of a deal, to agree to such a deal, I think all of us can agree.
Yeah. I mean, my father actually, he was the teacher of Adar Goldin, whose body is still been holding in Gaza for 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
So he's very active on that regard. Like every month he go to basically some kind of event that happened in Gaza with the parents of Adar Goldin, and yeah. And they talking about first of all recognize that Adar Goldin first of all is gone. Like there's no doubt about it. But the message isn't to make a deal to release all of them. The message is to finish the job first.
Yes, and I think that's also like we're our own biggest enemy. And again, a lot of people who aren't religious might not agree with this, but I think that God gave us laws, He gave us mitzvot, and He told us how to do things, and they actually give us the best possible version of life with the conditions that we were given.
Mm-hmm.
If let's say, the female soldiers who saw movement by the border, right? If the IDF would have listened to them, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about this now.
Yeah,
right?
many people will say, oh, if this, it won't happen. Like, if this will happen, I mean, Hamas will just wait to case what it will happen and we'll just do it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The moment you see people training, you bomb them. You don't like what, you can't become complacent. Oh, they're just training. No, this training is they're training in order to kill us. So you kill them first. This is right?
Yeah, I mean, but I think the thought process, the conception they had in the military intelligence is Hamas know that it can't destroy Israel on its own. So they believe this was a thought. I mean, logically, they will not dare to do mass assault on Israel before greater power like Hezbollah and Iran will do it first.
Mm-hmm.
So they thought, oh, if Hezbollah is not ready to attack us and Iran is not ready to attack us, why Hamas will do it?
I heard about this. I also heard that for a while Hamas wasn't joining Hezbollah. The last times they were shooting stuff. But that's the thing we keep. That's the mistake we're making. We keep on thinking that our enemy calmed down. They never calmed down. They never stopped planning our demise.
It's not about calm down. It's about thinking logically. Try to find the logic behind things.
I'll tell you.
And the problem is that our enemy doesn't necessarily work logically, or in the logic we understand.
No. They employ logic when trying to do their things. Maybe their cause isn't logical. Their cause isn't logical, but they employ logic very much, and they rely on Israeli complacency. I'm saying we should give them a logic. We should give them a logic that shows that anytime you try. What did Golda Meir say? What Golda Meir said that, and again, you could agree or not agree. She said, "The peace will come when you love your children more than you hate us." Right? What does that mean? We have to make. Why did all these countries who came to war with us? Why are they at war with us anymore? Because they saw the cost of going to war with Israel, and these places, even though they hate Israel. Egypt still hates Israel. They still hate Israel, but they understand that if they want a thriving society and we want to have a decent thriving society. I don't even know if you could call it that, but if you want to have some level, semblance of having a normal day-to-day life for your citizens or some kind of control over your country, that it's not worth going to war with Israel. Hamas is one of those people who have they don't possess that logic.
Mhm.
But definitely, if you know the idea of peace through strength, if every single time they even make a move that you could think that you could even that they know can even be mistaken as aggression towards Israel, and if we take action, that's it. It's game over.
I mean, easier to say it now.
Because we listen to the condemnations in the UN, they're anyways going to condemn
Easier to say now
again and
because
again and again.
easy to say now because we know the price, but
But
before,
how long is it going to take before we forget the price?
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There's like a back and forth instead of realizing our enemies aren't changing. They're not changing, right? I mean, there are countries which you see the countries that care about their growth and they want to build wealth. They're coming from a different place. That's why they have the Abrahamic Accords, right? Because they care about something entirely different. But I don't care if they love Israel or not. Their motivation, we know what their motivation is, and therefore we can build off of that.
Mhm.
But I listen. I don't. This is just a frustration I have. Maybe you don't exactly see eye to eye, but I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And the same way I don't understand, the Biden administration and why they were so soft on, it's just it's self-destructive.
Yeah, I mean, we need to understand that we are part of a global world. There is from the America perspective, it's not just about Israel, it's about global stability.
I mean,
you can criticize how they dealt with that stability, but it's we can at least acknowledge from their perspective they see much different picture than ours.
Well, again, look, the countries that aren't attacking Israel have stability, right? Mm-hmm. Because there was a message that was sent really clear that there's more instability for you, for the more instability for the enemy if they attack Israel than if they leave Israel alone. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if there's a better case. Again, which countries are the ones that are getting attacked by Israel? Mm-hmm. Only the ones that are attacking Israel. What does that tell you? Mm-hmm. Right? What does that tell you? All the people who say like Cenk Unger, it's an expansionist. Like, are you crazy? That's why we gave away the Sinai. That's why we gave away.
I mean, it's funny. Like, they always show that the supposed map of Greater Israel. Like, I always wonder, like, if this map is so accurate, why we are not at constant war against Egypt, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia?
Exactly.
All the land is theirs, not in Iran.
Right. Exactly. Which, like, instead of exactly. Like. Don't you see how every single one of Israel's actions actually point to eliminating threats? It's like it's
only like they believe only because Israel doesn't have any did the greater Israel. So if we get rid of Iran, suddenly Israel will conquer Egypt and Jordan, Saudi Arabia. Like.
Right. And I don't know what map they're talking about. We
usually use a classic map that shows Israel from the Nile to the Aphrodite in Iraq, basically show all this area from.
But why is that?
Because
historically we were there.
No, because they read one interpretation of a patriarch promise to Abraham in Genesis, and they think, oh, this is all the Zionist movement is around that specific.
No, but I'm saying the reason that map even exists, there were times when Israel also had the other side of the Jordan. It doesn't mean that we're planning on taking over Jordan.
I mean, the Bashan in Syria used to be parts of historical ancient Israel. I mean,
correct. I'm saying just because someone's proud of their heritage and therefore has a map of what Israel was at a certain time doesn't translate at all to any plans of war or conquest.
I mean, I found so many Turkish people who pushing the Great Israel conspiracy theory when their country literally have ministers who fantasize about reviving the Ottoman Empire, right. And they're currently occupying parts of Syria, Iraq, Cyprus, and in Libya. And basically, right now we can say, oh, they're actively now working for Greater Turkey to reviving the Ottoman Empire.
Which is does that mean the Caliphate as well?
I mean, the Ottoman Empire, like I studied, like it's for most of its history. Didn't really care about the Caliphate title.
Okay.
Only in the very last decades, it tried to bring it up to try to find some unite.
Oh, because they were kind of losing their power.
Yeah. They didn't really care about the caliphate or stuff. I mean, ironically, many of the sultans were addicted to alcohol, so they weren't really.
That's funny. I wanted to. Right, they were addicted to all the haram things.
Yeah.
Um.
There was a sultan who actually died while drowning in wine.
Oh no.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh man.
So you can see they didn't, for the most of its history, I mean, people say, oh, Jews thrived under Islamic rule. I mean, yeah, in Islamic rule, they didn't really care about Islam, yeah. I mean,
Also, you like if you're gonna cherry pick the times that it was good for the Jews,
yeah,
even though they were still dhimmis, by the way,
yeah,
right? It's like the best you could bring me is when Jew wasn't an equal citizen, yet you have a country
yeah.
where the Arabs are 100% equal citizens.
I
Are you gonna
mean,
compare
you
that?
need to remember back then, like most of the Muslims, most of the Muslims didn't consider the Ottomans real Muslims. They consider them as foreign Turkish weird
Because they
people.
weren't Arab, right?
First of all, they weren't Arabs, but even then, because of many of their tradition and all that, they like all the alcohol and all that.
Uh-huh.
So they didn't really consider them as real Muslim. But you know, they still, because they still agree, they did some agreement of Milad system and all that, it somehow worked out for a while.
Yeah, I mean, now we're talking a little bit back about Islam.
Yeah.
You know, the one of the funny things is when you see that the Muslims, you see it on X. X, by the way, X exposes everybody because people expose who they really are.
Mhm.
Not again, you can't say that every single person who posts represents everybody, but if you see a collective,
Mhm.
you know that's what they think. When they say, they look at the map of Spain that says Al Andalus and they say, oh, we have to bring back Al Andalus. What do you think they're saying? You think that it's just Israel because of some indigenous thing, or is it actually the same ideology that they want to take back Israel? Isn't that, don't you think it's the same ideology as
I
the
mean, yeah,
one that wants to take back El Andalus?
like, yeah, you think that after they will get rid of Israel, they will suddenly say, okay, let's now live normal lives after that, like,
Right.
like, like the idea of like,
The idea that people do bad things because of other people versus because they're actually bad.
I mean, I always say like there is usually three types of people who hate Israel, like people who want to revive Islamic Caliphate,
No.
people who want to revive the Soviet Union, and people who want to revive Nazi Germany. This, I mean, this is basically all summed up. Like, and we think Israel is some of the obstacle to all of it.
Well, I
I
mean,
mean, kind of, but
thriving Jews is an obstacle, I guess, to Nazi Germany and Islamic Caliphate for
and
sure.
also the fact that it's been tried once and work, it's a threat to communism.
Right,
Yeah,
right. It's funny because historically, I don't think people know this, but in
yeah,
the beginning,
yeah. I mean,
Soviet Union and Israel were allies.
not exactly allies. I mean,
They were.
I was born in a kibbutz. My father was born in a kibbutz. My grandfather was in a kibbutz.
Is it
Like,
accurate to say they were friendly?
oh, like friendly. Like there was at the beginning of
With a
Israel,
common goal.
there was Mapam. There was a party that called Mapam, which was a communist Israeli party of Israel, which had great admiration to communism, Soviet Union, and Stalin. They were in conflict with Ben Gurion because Ben Gurion, when they established Israel and there was the Cold War, they wanted to go sided with the Soviet Union, but Ben Gurion saw the potential in America. So he sided with America. Although Ben Gurion himself was a socialist, very heavy socialist.
Right, but I feel like people, some people will let's say separate between communism and socialism. Right, Golda
Yeah,
Meir was very much she wanted socialism.
yeah.
Um, I mean, and there is, certain aspects of Israel, like socialized
Maki.
healthcare, is like
Oh, it was Maki actually. The Communist Party was Maki. I was confused.
Oh, okay,
Maki. Confused with the other party. But yeah,
okay,
just for a protocol, it was Maki, not Papa.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, wow, I think we covered a lot of stuff now.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, and Stalin was the Czechoslovakia now during the 48 war. Originally, it was made with the government before the communists took over, and after the communists took over, was a halt to the program, but then they allowed it to continue because they conclude that if Israel will win, it will kick out the British imperialists from the Middle East, and then they could take over the Middle East communists. So this is why they allowed the Czech weapons to go. But then after the war over and Israel sided with America instead of them, they basically did a purge to anyone who was involved in that
Okay.
arm deal.
right, understood.
So yeah.
I wanted to ask you one more thing. I mean, not even ask. I just want like with Hannah Einbinder. I don't know if you saw that
Hmm?
thing. The lady, the actor who said free Palestine
With the
and
pickles,
what?
who try to use pickles to prove how Jewish he is.
Oh, I don't know. Was that her? I don't know. Some
I
actress.
just saw people who brought it up, I think. Like, yeah, the guy was supposed assimilated American Jews who think, oh, that Jewish culture is bagels and pickles and Brooklyns and all that.
I mean, that's. I mean, it's like.
Like it's funny, like they say, oh, Zionism erased real Jewish culture like Yiddish. I mean, Yiddish is just Ashkenazi thing. It's nothing. It's not relevant to most.
First of all, how did they erase it?
I mean, there are. I mean, Israel is the only place when we have actual active speakers. Maybe besides some places in New York.
New
But
York. No, that I speak Yiddish to my son actually, but I've said like, I guess maybe what they're saying is that all the original.
yeah,
Okay, all the original Zionists spoke Yiddish, and they didn't.
they create a mindset that basically Zionism was basically some kind of Jewish reactionary fascist nationalism that hijacked Judaism out of like the real, diasporic nature. Like they create the vision that the Jewish people are some kind of diasporic people who live along all other cultures and all that. Like,
So you know what's funny about that is that they're taking a kernel of truth
mhm.
and they're using it to substantiate a giant lie.
Yeah.
Why do I say that? There were a lot of people who wanted Israeli identity to be nothing more than nationalism. That existed, right? Which means it would eliminate Torah and eliminate a lot of the culture that we had. It would eliminate, and that's a real problem. And that's, by the way, that's the reason why a lot of religious rabbis were against Zionism, not because of the reasons they say,
Yeah.
because it's not that Israel doesn't do with Judaism. Of course it does. 3 times in prayer we say, "Bring us back."
Yeah.
At the end of Yom
Yeah,
Kippur
that's
we
right.
say, "L'shana haba
The
Yerushalayim."
debate against Zionism wasn't based on the fact that the Zionists were wrong about the claim of the Jewish people over Israel. It's
Exactly.
because the claim it should be part of a big messianic, big Mashiach who will bring back and build the temple and all, basically.
Even that, I'm telling you that the reason why they were saying that it can't be
Because they fear it will secularize the Jewish people. They fear that it will replace Jewish religion with secular nationalism.
Right, which was the goal of some people.
Some Zionism believe so.
Yeah.
Some other Zionists, I mean, there was. And you need to remember, their first Aliyah was people who were religious.
Yeah, but way before 1920.
Yeah, the first Aliyah was religious, and
People don't know this.
all the big first settlements were established by Haredi, like Solomon, who established Petah Tikva, came from the old Yeshuv of Jerusalem.
There's no question about it.
Yeah.
There were observant Jews
Yeah.
here long before. Throughout history, the biggest dream of people
No,
were.
but the argument is, oh, that Zionism doesn't have legitimate claim over the Jewish history because Zionism is secular. It's purely secular.
This is what I said once. I said, destroy Zionism, take it, burn it, and go away. How does that? I said that for argument's sake, right? How does that take away the fact that Judaism is 100% intertwined with the Holy Land of Israel? Meaning, just because some people decided that they wanted to forget about that doesn't change the fact that Israel is the homeland of the Jewish people. Like it's like saying, if I
mean, it's kind of like the argument, oh, you need to believe in Greek mythology to accept that Greek have the right to exist. I mean,
exactly. Just because some people made up some nonsense doesn't take away all the truth.
Mhm.
It's a funny thing how people will.
I mean, it's funny, like the secular American Jews, like, or basically most of them are half Jews or something. Like someone who say, oh, as a Jew, I'm ashamed of Israel, but then I show her a Twitch and she say her mother was indigenous American or something, and say, oh, so you say that half Jews are not real Jews? And I say, yes, yeah. I mean, who are you to agree? Who are you to disagree that non-Jews, that half Jews are not Jews? The Jewish law. I mean, halacha.
Oh, there you go, halacha.
Halacha said so. I mean, you.
No, but also meaning. That's the thing about also Jewish identity is there would not be a Jewish identity if not for the fact that people adhered to the laws throughout the generations. We would have been lost. We would have been assimilated. We would have intermarried.
Yeah.
Right? It's only because
of that. They create. I'm talking about specifically the secular American Jews who try to distinguish themselves with Zionism. They create an historical narrative in their head that Jewish people were some kind of socialist worker party that only been hijacked by foreign nationalism. And
I mean, even if it's true, let's grant them that lie. What does that matter? You can't just all of a sudden you can't take that argument and say now, oh, so the fact that Jewish people have been dreaming of going back to Israel, people who care about the Torah, and the people who have never left, people who never stopped dreaming, people who kept their identity, does that eliminate them?
I mean,
why do their actions all of a sudden eliminate everybody else's legitimate stance?
Like the claim of that Zionists don't represent, the Jewish people of the diaspora or the Jewish people of who were wiped out in the Holocaust, because they claim only minority were Zionists and all that. And historically, it was objectively false. I mean, there was election back then when the Russian Empire fall, and there was the big civil war in Russia. But before the rise of Soviet Union, there was big elections in all across Eastern Europe when the big, huge diaspora of Jews was there. And in all the elections, the result was the Zionists got 60% of the vote, the ultra-Orthodox got 30%, and the remaining 10% were between different socialist parties and tiny minority.
There you go.
So even back then, before Israel hijacked Judaism, the vast majority of Jews identify as Zionist or ultra-religious.
Right. Okay. There you go. There you go. But I want to say something even more, because this is what people don't understand. But I want to say also, like, Israel has some checkered history, right? Especially when it comes to how they treated very religious people, because again there was an agenda there. But if you look, there's a story about someone who came to one of the Lubavitch Rabbein, and they came with the thing Bilu, right? Bilu was a movement of Zionism.
The reason why they were considered very significant, although in reality they were just a handful, few dozen guys who just established one settlement, Gedera, I think.
Oh, okay.
The reason why we become so big in the Zionist historiography mind was because we were socialists, secular socialists.
Okay.
And because, Ben Gurion was secular socialist, and its ruling party when Israel was founded was secular socialist, they tried to use the Biluim as basically as the entrepreneur of the Zionist project.
Okay, but Bilu stands for Bet Yaakov Lechu V'Nelcha, which means the house of Jacob, let's get up and go, right?
Yeah.
That was your thing, but it looks like they were quite strong in.
Even if you take the most secular early Zionists, we still have a huge respect and basic knowledge about Jewish culture and Jewish history.
Right. No, Jewish history was always, whether they tried to dissect it and take it away from how Jewish history was passed down, and all of the practice throughout Jewish history, which was Torah. But even if they did that, Jewish history was 100% very much central in ideology. But
it's funny, like people. It's the idea of a Jewish history has nothing to do with modern Jewish people. It's a modern invention. I mean, back then, even if you go back to the anti-Zionist argument back in the 19th century, the argument wasn't, the Jews have nothing to do with back then. The argument was, okay, you once was there, but now there's a bunch of Arabs, so we can't do anything about it. This was the argument.
Right. Okay. This is a very good point, and this is what I wanted to bring after this. There were two main objections to Jewish people going back to Israel, and especially, having it and governing it. Number one was the fact that from the religious side was that, and this is what I was saying about Bilu, they approached one of the Chabad Rabbeim, I think it was the fifth, Rabbi Shalom Dov Ber, the Rebbe Rashab. I don't know if you ever heard of that name, but they approached him and said, Bilu, this is our argument. He said, if you would have said, Bet Yaakov Lechu V'Nelcha, what are the next two words? Be'or Hashem. Meaning, this is, people try to make that going to Israel in itself is prohibited for Jews, which is very extremist, is absolutely fabricated. The majority of people who were against it was because they were going to establish a non-Torah government, which was problematic for Jews. That's number one.
So Israel, in the Israeli Declaration of Independence, there was a huge debate about including God's name in the Declaration of
In
Independence.
Hatikva, right? Hatikva doesn't say the name of God, which is,
Yeah.
I think is very tragic because even the Americans say God bless America, right?
What's funny, Americans included God Bless America as response to the Soviet Union. Because there was the Cold War, and the Soviet Union were the atheists.
So they said God bless
in this to how different it was, they put God Bless America.
No, but you have one nation under God.
Yeah.
I think it's a very tragic thing, and I wish, I hope, I pray for the day when people speak about God. When you sing a song, they say Tzur, right? In the Tikva, there's Tzur Israel.
No, in the Declaration of Independence.
Right, but say Hashem, our God, say Shema. I think the in whatever every single document of Israel talking about its independence, and you have the word Shema Israel in there. How could we not? How could we not have? I don't know what you think. I don't know what you think about that, but I'm like, how could we not? You know.
I mean, some say that the reason why Israel was called Israel and not Judea is because Israel is far more broad there.
It includes all of the Israelites.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and they say, oh, the ancient Israelites, as we know, not all the tribe of Israel worship God, the split between Israel and Judea. So they try to basically say, oh, it's not necessarily united under God. Under God, it's more national identity, basically.
Well, that's a very well. That's funny because we say in Tefillah we say V'ishe Yisrael, and the offerings of Israel.
But
Eretz Beis Yisrael. All in our prayers, the Jewish people, these are religious texts. We refer to as Achenu Kol Beit Yisrael, our brothers, the entire house of Israel.
Yeah, but the association, I believe, in the minds of a secular Zionism.
Oh, sure, yeah, the secular
Zionism. Yeah. In their mind, there is Judea identity, which is around the temple, which is around worship God, and House of David, and all that, all this vision. And there is the Israelites identity, which is more cultural,
historical,
yeah.
Yeah, that's very tragic. That's a very tragic thing. And by the way, that's what gives these people who make these ridiculous claims. That gives them ammunition. It gives they weaponize this. But I was gonna say because you mentioned about.
This is why to this day many secular leftists, want to accuse religious right-wing Jews who say, oh, maybe we should break to Judea and Israel.
It's like, did we not learn from our mistakes? Oh, boy, it was so.
To this day, the mindset exists that Israel is the more broad identity and Judean is it's where all the religious stuff is.
You know what? Yehudi has the name Yehudi. Why did they call Mordechai Yehudi? Mordechai was from Shevet Binyamin, right?
Because he from the kingdom of Judah.
Correct. There's also a deeper meaning. And by the way, I kind of go at Muslims for this.
The name Yehudi basically came from the same process that Ivri went through.
Ivri, right, yeah.
But it became more and more broad. Originally being Yehudi is being member of a tribe of Judah.
Right. Judah, and then it was a kingdom.
Then the member of a kingdom of Judea, and then it became generic name to all the people who worship or keep the Torah.
All of the Israelites.
All the Israelites, basically. Mainly after the destruction of the northern kingdom of Israel, and then all of them fled to Judea, basically.
Right, that's why you have the people who try to, make a difference between Jews and Israelites, because then that's how they, they say, oh, you're not the real people. Oh my gosh.
It's funny, people forget, but even the House of David, during the time of House of Omri, which is the house that ruled the kingdom of Israel, intermarried with each other.
Oh, okay.
So even the House of David also includes the House of Israel.
Right, yeah, there was a little tragic story.
Yeah, with
Asalia.
Yeah, Talia, the Queen Atalia, but de facto, King Yoash is de facto descendants of both David and the Omri.
Correct. What was it, Omri?
He was the founder of House. Achav is the son of Omri.
Oh, okay, right.
So yeah, House of Omri. We call him the House of Omri.
Okay. Now, you probably know Tanakh much better than I do, but anyway, we're going back to that was the one reason of why people were against going to Israel was because they were trying to create a, they were selling the soul of the Jews for the body of the Jews. That's really what they were, right? And that's not something that we're down with. But another thing was, it's too dangerous. Pikuach nefesh. Meaning, yes, of course we want to go back to Israel, but you're going to go there, they're going to kill us all. We're not allowed to go and take back Israel. Right? A life comes first. Pikuach nefesh.
Yeah.
That was the argument. And that's why the moment that we won in 1948, now it's pikuach nefesh. We're not allowed to give an inch of it back. It was always the same motivation. It's preserving Jewish life. So all these people who say it's against the Torah, they don't even know. They have no clue. They're so clueless. They make these.
They take the Neturei Karta as representative of true Judaism.
Right, the people who walked around on Shabbat. You saw they were walking on Shabbat with the in order to not carry. They're being filmed, right? Which you're not supposed to do. In order to not carry, they put on these thing that look like tzitzit. So they're wearing it. The problem is it's arba kanfot. Why? How can they wear something without tzitzit? These are religious people. It's ridiculous. These people are not only that, they're endangering Jewish lives. You trust somebody who goes and sits and eats with the enemy? That's ridiculous.
I mean, it's funny, like they use.
I'll tell them.
They use the argument, use the argument, or we should, respect the kingdom. Basically, there is the law, the halacha. Let's say we should respect the law of the host nation.
Right.
I mean,
Dina de Malchuta Dina.
Dina de Malchuta. I mean, if we don't believe that Israel isn't Jewish, we believe that the Zionists are not Jewish and all that, the complete goyim, according to the law, we should respect Israel because Israel is Dina de Malchut Dina. I mean,
you have to listen to the government.
You have to listen to what Netanyahu says because he is the Dina de Malchut Dina.
Right. That's funny. That's an interesting position. I wanted to say also, because I want more viewers to know about this, because the first Zionist that people consider, there's a woman who people consider the first Zionist. You know who that is?
Donna Garcia.
Garcia. Oh my gosh! So her story, just so guys know, this is a woman who was from she ran away from the Inquisition.
Yeah.
And she had so much money because she inherited her husband who passed away, inherited her money. She was such an important businesswoman that there was, I think, a city called Ancona where they burned Jews at the stake.
Yeah.
She boycotted the city and brought it to its knees. That's how influential she was. Kings tried to get her to marry off her daughter.
Not really helping against the conspiracies.
What do you mean? Oh, right. If a Jew has power and uses it to help their people, that's a no-no, right?
Yeah. I mean, but you know what I mean.
For sure, it's okay. Let them. They're gonna have the conspiracies anyway.
And they're going to cut up the clip. Oh, see, we just confirmed.
Good, let them.
Jack Shield going to share this moment.
Of course, because again, if Jews have, it's only a problem when Jews have influence.
Yeah.
Everybody else can have influence, but if a Jew has influence, oh no.
It's automatic, sinister.
Right,
automatically.
and if she protests Jews being burned at the stake, oh no, that's Jewish supremacy,
right?
I
mean, the same thing we do for the Rothschilds. I ask him, can you prove to me one big problematic thing that the Rothschilds supposedly did that is actual historical document? Like we keep using that story of how they manipulated the Battle of Waterloo with Napoleon to take over the back of England, and I show them it's a fabrication that created decades after. I mean the historical Rothschilds, what they did, they helped to abolish slavery. They supported the black civil rights. I mean, probably many people think it's bad, but
it's right. You lose either way, right?
Yeah.
It's a lose-lose.
I mean, they just protected, prosecuted Jews in Eastern Europe.
It's such a good point. It's like if the Jews, the people who are like the white supremacists, they're like, oh, you see, the Jews are the problem. They gave the blacks the rights, and then the other people are like, no, they were the slave owners. It's oh my gosh, it's hilarious. But the reason I'm talking about her is because she actually ended up in Israel. She was able to get from the Sultan.
Tiberius.
She resettled Tiberius with Jewish people, and she instituted a yeshiva, which I think more than one yeshiva. She instituted yeshivot. You're going to talk about people going to Israel and pretend that it was just some kind of secular initiative. You don't know what you're talking about. After Yom Kippur, we say L'Shana Haba B'Yerushalayim. Next year in Jerusalem. After the Seder, we say next year in Jerusalem. 1 second. We have every single day we say, may our eyes see you returning to Zion. Please come back to your city of Jerusalem.
Even that, you have Kaspei HaChalukah.
What's this?
The Haluka money. Basically, the Jews all around the diaspora donated money to the Jewish
The
community.
Jewish community, right? Right.
The main reason why it was needed is because the Muslims rule imposed so many taxes on the,
On the Jews, the jizya.
jizya, so they will not kill them if they not be able to pay, because they have a practice of basically if they were not about to be able to pay it, they will basically kidnap them, imprison them, and torture them until it was paid. So basically the entire diaspora basically united to give money so the tiny Jewish community were able to survive.
Yeah, it's actually crazy because what happened was actually this is very sad. The first Rebbe of Chabad was put in jail because he was very much vocal about sending money to Israel, and the Russians said, "Oh, you're collaborating with the Ottoman Empire."
Ottoman spy, basically.
Yeah. It's so ridiculous. It's like,
I mean, I think if you're going to solve West European Jews with white Europeans have no legitimate, there are no connection to the real Israelites. I mean, I will say that the very fact that they pay your taxes is already give them legitimacy.
I mean, what do you mean? Whose taxes? You're saying?
I mean, because they gave money to be able to pay the taxes that the Muslims pay, that the Muslim impose. It's already given. I mean, imagine if you pay taxes for a foreign country. Don't you think you have legitimate argument, even if you didn't physically live there?
We should ask for reparations.
Yeah. I mean, give reparation to all of us Haluka money.
Yeah, you know the story of the Gevia ben Pesisa, the hunchback. The story in the time of Alexander.
Yeah.
The Canaanites came and said, "Oh, we were here." The Egyptians said, "Oh, they took all our stuff," right? And basically the answer was, "No, you enslaved the Jews. How much do you have to pay them?" And they basically had to pay even more to the Jews, so they ran away, right? And every single one was answered, but it's the same thing. It's like every accusation they put against us.
Yeah, I mean, if you claim we stole your land or took over all that, I mean, first of all, pay us back all the Haluka money and all that. First of all, it's all that.
And also, by the way, how can you call? First of all, where exactly are we colonizers from?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
how are we
I was wondering.
Where's the empire?
I mean, if we are just Polish settlers, why you don't commit attacks against Poland?
Right, exactly. Well, because Poland doesn't let them in. That's why.
I mean, you should target Poland. He's the source of all this project. I mean,
exactly.
I mean, the Algerians attacked France because of this is where all the settlers came from.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, how are you going to call it? Like, is there a bigger group of people who colonized, over a continent than Islam?
The Mongols.
What?
The Mongols, maybe.
The Mongols, but they don't have it anymore.
I mean, right now, I mean, there are so many hundreds of millions, tens of millions of
Genghis Khans,
So technically.
So yeah, he did, but I'm saying as far as like how are you literally, like, you came from, like, they erased these people erased. Why do so many people consider themselves Arabs?
Yeah.
Because they Arabized and Muslimized land after land, and they say, oh, they converted out of their own free will. I'm sure they did. And then
it's funny, like, the only case I can find of potentially population of converting to Islam in the land of Israel is the case of the Samaritans. And the reason why is because the Samaritans were not really considered real monotheistic people of the book, so were considered quite pagans. So it was okay to basically massacre them at will. So they basically commit a genocide against the Samaritans. So if this is the argument of it's become Muslims, it's become Islamic through genocide, basically.
Right. But in general, they erased entire cultures. They erased entire people. Like, till today, the Berbers, right? They're like treated badly.
I was in Morocco, so yeah.
Oh, you say you were?
I was in Morocco.
I still have to make that trip. But I'm saying that the fact that these people are gonna, like I would say, sure, I'll agree that you should, that you have a claim if you go ahead and condemn all the Muslim conquests. I want to see one of these people go ahead and do it.
I mean, they always represent, it's colonized. Basically, they make the argument. The reason why Zionism and British and European imperialism is bad because it was through ships.
Oh, okay.
And Arab imperialism, it was good. It was natural expansion because it was through camels. This is the
Ah.
yeah.
So water bad, land
Well,
good.
yeah, basically, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's probably one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
I mean, according to that definition, this is the only argument I can think of to explain why, when Spain mass converted the indigenous people of America to Christianity, why this is considered bad, but not when the Islamic world turned the entire, basically.
It's I mean
I mean,
it's so see through. It's so transparent.
yeah.
It's so easy to to see through it. And it's and the only reason why it's gaining so much traction is because there's Jew hatred is popular. So they'll run with anything,
I
even
mean,
something that makes no sense.
it's found it more complex to call it even Jew hatred. I more call it like a it's feel less like an hatred and more like a addiction,
It's an
basically.
obsession. Yeah.
It's give them sensation, big satisfaction when they do it.
It's like they get off on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they can't help themselves.
Like there is no other way. Like even people who hate black people, they are not really obsessed to connect every problem in the world to black people. They just have like 2-3 arguments against black people. Like, oh, they are very violent, they're very criminal, and this is it. Basically,
Yeah,
move
yeah.
on. But the Jewish people, they need to keep connecting the dots all the time.
But why it's so easy to blame the Jews, because and I heard this actually from I think it was from Tuvia Singer. I thought this, and he really articulated it. He said Jewish people, there's a bracha, really there's like a bracha that we have, and you see it. We're such a small amount of the population, but we're overrepresented in many fields, right? Not so much in the NBA or in sports, but we're overrepresented in many fields. And so it just means when
sports there was, in basketball before the black people came in, we were very representative.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah. Back in the 50s, 60s.
Before, yeah, well.
Before the black Americans came over.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So you're saying the original NBA, there are a lot of much more Jews. Really, baseball has a lot of Jews,
Yeah, and boxing was originally established by a Jewish man in the 18th century Big Britain.
Really, I didn't know that.
I think his name was Salvador something. Yeah.
Interesting. But the point really is that the point is that if let's say a Jew who let's say thinks that he's gonna go after something, how the thing that they talk about in Germany, how oh, the Jews were the first people to do this trans thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, really? So then why couldn't you just outlaw the trans stuff? Right? Did you also have to kill the rabbis who obviously were against it because the Torah says it's asur? Like, how do you, even let's say we're going to say, yeah, that's why they hated the Jews. So just outlaw it.
Yeah, it's because, the Nazi was, it's funny when people try to supposedly understand the Nazis.
Right, exactly.
According to the Nazi worldview, according to Hitler himself, the logical conclusion of World War II is that the German people deserve to be exterminated because they failed in the war.
Oh, he was saying if you're
Hitler said
if you're not the Ubermensch, right?
Yeah. Hitler, the reason why he committed suicide is because he wants all the German people to commit suicide because they prove themselves as worthless.
Oh, because they lost.
Because they lost. If they lost against the international jury.
If it's survival of the fittest, you lost.
So they're supposed to take the L.
Right, but okay, I kind of derailed the conversation a little bit. Good point. But I'm saying I kind of derailed the conversation. The point was that so Jews, if they're going to, go into whatever field they are, there's something, there's disproportionate success. So you're going to find Jews in all types of industries and all types of places. And if you have a Jew who's misguided, he's going to rise to the top. But that's like so then if you have set in place something to outlaw, like there are Jewish criminals, you can put them in jail like you put everybody else. Why would you target a people because of one person here or one person there? It's obviously because you hate them.
Even if you just try to think logically, Jewish people historically were more urbanized and they were far more literate.
They were literate, right? They were literate.
Far more literate. In the Russian Empire, there was like 80% illiteracy, and the Jewish people were among the few minorities that almost all of them know how to read.
Throughout history, Jews were more literate, right?
So you compare, there were only 5% of the population, but were like 20, 30% of it. Like see it's not really what you compare peasants who live in Siberia to Jews who live in the main cities.
Right. But I'm saying even more than that. It's like would you make the comparison that if there's a white guy who did a crime that therefore this reflects on all white people? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right? And, so you'll find Jews in this industry, you'll find Jews doing incredible stuff, and you'll also find Jews who are criminals. Great. So make laws, and anybody who falls under this category of criminals, will go to jail. Whoever doesn't, let them live their life. Like it's one of the like people who actually believe it.
And yeah, we need to understand over-representation doesn't mean control or conspiracy.
Well, that's another thing that they don't. They're jealous. It always boils down to jealousy. How is it that these people are thriving? How is it they're doing so well? So it must be that it's an effort.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
instead of maybe thinking, oh wait, maybe this thing about the Jewish people being blessed and that that it says in the Torah, maybe there's something to it because we keep on seeing, the fact that the Muslims don't see that, God allowed them to take over land after land after land, right? Islam took over land after land. God favored them for whatever reason. But when it comes to Israel, somehow not so much. They can't get it. Do you get the hint? Get the message?
I won't say, but only in Israel we were not blessed. We were not really blessed in basically every war that they had against other non-Arabs. I mean, if you look at when Libya tried to invade the Chad in Africa, they were completely humiliated by a bunch of people with Toyotas.
You're saying modern day, but I'm
saying I will say, in generally, in the Muslim Arab world, have a problem of incompetency when it's come to wars and diplomacy.
We're not fighting with swords anymore.
Yeah,
I guess. Very interesting. No, but I'm saying even historically, right? Like for whatever reason, God granted them those lands, but He didn't do it with Israel. Right? It's like they use, you see, God chased you out of the land, so it must mean it's not yours. Okay, well then, if He brought us back, why? Like all of a sudden, you're an atheist now? Like God took it away, He gave it back.
It's funny, like the same people, the Jews are supremacists because we believe they are the chosen people. I mean, both the Quran and the New Testament also testify that the Jews are the chosen people. The debate is if they are still the chosen.
Exactly. Is God supremacist now?
I mean, you believe that God was once in history Jewish supremacist? I mean,
exactly. I was saying the reason I'm laughing so much is because I thought the same exact thing. Is like, how in the world did you come to the You're basically saying that God used to be like really messed up, and now He's cool.
We basically made God realized He made a mistake.
Right,
instantly, after all these thousands of years, I was wrong about this group of guys.
Right, He made a mistake, and now His paradise is just absolute depravity, where you get 72 women and you drink wine, right? Because that's your idea of being close to God.
So many Christian nationalists to also make the argument that God changed His mind about the Jewish people because He see a wicked there. I mean, God, He was so stupid. He could foresee how wicked the Jewish people are.
Right. Also, the fact that in the Torah itself it says that the reason why God chose us is not because we're the greatest of the nations. It's because he God loves us and that's it. There was never a claim that God chose us because we were strong. God creates strong people. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
God is the one who decides who has the reality of who's strong and who's weak. Like, it's such a, I want to say, primitive way of it's idiocy, and it just shows that hatred is blind. You'll believe any crazy theory as long as it implicates your enemy.
And we don't realize it just contradicts their own religion, but we try to basically, it basically means that your religion is nothing but just reactionary to Judaism.
Exactly. Well, that's the problem, because this is what the main reason of hate today of Judaism. I mean, again, you have many reasons, but the main reason is religious, because if they're supposed to be the new thing, then how did the old people exist? Right? How did the Old Testament people exist? How did they maintain it? And how did they come back to their land? Right? This flies in the face, and it's not a religious debate or like going and saying, oh, they're wrong. Like, I think actually that this is what I think about Charlie Kirk, is that I don't care how much things I disagreed with him theologically. The guy was fighting for the soul of America. He was a good man. He was an incredible man. He was a righteous man. But you have the Jew-hating side of Christianity, which most of the Christians kind of, they said, okay, that was bad. But some people who like still, they're still stuck in the medieval Christianity, and they're like, they see, oh, the Jewish people are still here. Well, that kind of contradicts my beliefs, so I have to hate them.
Yeah, I mean, they found that the big targets is like what we call Zionist, Christian Zionism. We basically see it, oh, it's a big Jewish plot to basically destroy the real Christianity. I mean,
Right.
the reason why Christian anti-Judaism was able to thrive back in the Middle Ages was because the Bible was only available to tiny minority of priests.
Yeah, they didn't, because they didn't.
I mean, this is why the roots of Christian Zionism, it's when the Bible was mass available to the public.
Exactly. And by the way, there are things in the New Testament that are, anti-Jewish, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But overall, you're saying is absolutely true. They just listened to the pastor. Whatever the pastor said, whatever the priest said, they listened to, and they couldn't read. They didn't know better. Today, you could show verse. You could compare verses. There are contradicting verses.
This is why,
verses that are favorable towards Jews.
Like you can complain and cry about Christian Zionists how much you want, but at least Christian Zionists actually quote from the Bible more than just few verses of Synagogue of Satan.
Right, exactly. And by the way, I don't know if you read the Haftorah of last week, but like, people are, make claims against the Talmud of Jewish supremacy. It's like, have you looked in Tanakh? Mm-hmm. Like, the only reason you're not attacking them is because they're considered your scriptures as well.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Muslims sometimes attack the Bible because they believe it was distorted.
Right, they say it was altered. Yeah. Right. That's why? Because Muhammad said that you have to go to the people of the book.
This is why I found it so funny, like so ironic when Muslims or some types of Christian nationalists try to claim, oh, we should unite with the Muslim Christians, should unite against the Jews because both Muslims and Christians believe in Jesus and Jews believe he's burning out. Like, according to the Muslims, the New Testament is distortion. It's a completely, basically satanic distortion, and we should, and all the apostles, all the followers of Jesus are considered, big evil people who basically manipulated his word. So according to
that's a great point.
According to this perspective, Jews and Christians should unite it because they both believe in the New Testament against the Muslims who believe that the Old Testament. The Old Testament because the Muslim believe the Old Testament is distorted
by the people in the New Testament. Yeah. That's very interesting. One second. I want to end off on something positive. We said a lot of kind of, I guess, I don't want to say it was negative. It was negative because basically, like, against Israel's haters, really the Jewish people's haters. What do you think because it really, it says, like, really, we're our own worst enemies.
Yeah, but it's not what the original verse means, no?
Oh, what does it mean?
Originally it's mean that the Babylonians will be kicked out. The Babylonians are of the land of Israel, and they will be kicked out.
They will go
from the land of, I mean, this is what
so maybe it's another interpretation.
I mean, if you read the context is talking about the enemies of Israel, but basically it's talking about the perspective of land of Israel is basically what he's talking to.
Okay.
And Marsechu Mechivech is the enemies of the land of Israel,
and they're
going to be kicked out.
Okay, understood. I guess there's also
you can say, oh, it's a multiple meaning if you want, but original,
But listen, I'm not actually, like, I don't have to draw on the pasuk to see we have a problem here. My question, I guess, like, really, I think all the issues against Jews would, and this is a deep idea in Chassidut, deep, not the way I'm saying it, but that if the Jewish people were to truly unite, all of the outside problems would dissipate in a second. Question is, like, what do you think, like, one step, like, from what you've seen, like, you see, probably a lot of infighting, especially you live in Israel, like, what do you think could bring us one step closer to unity and hopefully, times of Mashiach?
And first of all, to have a clear goals that are achievable first. I mean, Messiah, I don't know if it's achievable in our lifetime. We can't possibly know when the Messiah will come, if we be honest.
Well, there's a way to live with Mashiach even before Mashiach comes.
Yeah, you can maybe spiritually, but they're talking about physical Messiah.
Well, if I go out of my way to, let's say, love a Jewish brother, even if I don't agree with him.
Sure, I mean, you can call it bringing us closer to God in some sense. But if we're talking about clear goals, I mean, we have to have a clear goal. So what we want to achieve right now.
Mhm.
And the goal should be complete victory first in this war.
Agreed.
Basically, there will be no debates, there will be no possibility to even claim that somehow our enemies benefited from October 7 in some way.
Correct. That's another, yeah, exactly. Make it a clear victory. Like, don't give
Yeah.
them, yeah, I could go on and on and on, but we're going to leave it on off a positive thing. May we unite with a common goal.
Yeah.
Adin, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
Really,
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
A real pleasure. And you taught me some new things.
Yeah.
And I hope the viewers enjoy. I think they will. I really think they will.
Yeah.
So
I am more than just a troll on X.
I never thought you were a troll on X.
I mean, sometimes I'm enjoying trolling. Man.
Okay.
I have my trolling side, so yeah.
Sure, some people deserve to be trolled, but
I mean, people can say anything about me on X, as you can, if you probably.
They also make things up about you.
Yeah, you can probably remember.
Fabricated tweets and stuff.
Yeah.
Horrible. Well, we're talking about good things only.
Yeah.
But anyway, so thank you guys, and until next time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Follow and subscribe.